She's our daughter.
Who are these people?
But she's never seen us before. 7 years ago, when she went missing, she was blind.
Mom?
So do you remember any of the events that led up to your disappearance?
I didn't disappear. I was present for all of it.
There was a strange, glowing promotional picture on Netflix the day the OA was released. Britt Marling was lying in a pool of celestial light. I was intrigued. I hit play. The first episode started very slow, being 70 minutes long, and with a very complicated plot that stressed me from the start, as I don't like when I can't follow a story. Now that I said this, I have to say that by the time the episode ended, I had a strong impulse to continue, as the first cliffhanger pushed me to know more and more. The series had managed to attract me, disturb me, and comfort me at the same time. It was unlike anything I'd seen before. I can now say that the OA is an experience, and I would encourage anyone to take the leap. In order to talk about how cool this series is, we have to talk a little bit of background, but don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Marling stars as Prayer, a woman who suddenly reappears after being missing for 7 years. She has also inexplicably regained her sight, and she now calls herself the OA. Her parents eagerly bring her home, but she's reluctant to talk to anyone about what happened to her. Until, that is, she meets a troubled, violent teenage boy named Steve Witchell. She convinces him to bring 4 others to an empty house in her neighborhood, and that is where she begins to tell her incredible story. Part of what makes this series so special is its use of storytelling. The majority of the series takes the form of the OA telling the group about her experiences, and it is from these stories that the show can create those striking visuals. Her story is one of love, lust, despair, and discovery, and is interrupted once the characters' present-day lives must resume. We see the day-to-day life of the OA since her return, her relationship with her parents, and the struggles of the 4 boys and their teacher Betty Broderick Allen, or BBA for short. The format increases your curiosity to know how her story ends and will bring some viewers to question if Prayer is lying or telling the truth. For every moment I was forced to leave the abandoned house and face the day-to-day life, I was aching to return to the Oasis story. This is expert scriptwriting from Britt Marling and Zelbert Manglish, because not only are they making their audience feel part of the group of 5, but they're also highlighting the power of charisma and the spoken word. It's a story being told to a group, being told to the world. Are we to trust her, believe her? It's uncertain, and undoubtedly a test of our own character. In fact, faith or religion is a big part of the story, and several religions are referenced throughout the episodes. Christianity, of course, with the angels and talk of purgatory or heaven. Buddhism and achieving the nirvana of passing over the next dimension. Khatoon reminds me of Hindu gods, the way she watches over the pool in her starry room. There's a strong sense of Taoism, a philosophical or religious tradition in Chinese origin which emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao. Lastly, Hap seems to represent atheism, believing there is no good and evil, purely science and evidence. The OA, even in its plainer moments, is a gorgeous show, carefully rendered by Britt Manglish in a unique blend of genres and styles. At first glance, the OA looked to be a science fiction series, but it also rates very much like a drama at times, and more of a thriller at others. It is a series that cannot help but evoke a powerful reaction in its viewer, be it love or disappointed exasperation. Marling and Manglish have created a bold visual world, but acknowledged through an understanding of blindness. Sensory deprivation is a key concern of the plot, which stresses throughout the need to feel the touch of another person, to feel one's emotion, and to feel freedom, and this feeling is reflected on the viewer by creating a feeling of claustrophobia where you can really understand the struggle Prayer was going through once blind. There's one interesting philosophy concept parallel that I wanted to discuss. This is Plato's allegory of the cave. In his allegory of the cave, Plato teaches that we cannot truly know things through the evidence of our own senses. The OA argues the same. As explained by Josephine Livingstone from the New Republic, in Plato's allegory, 3 people have been chained up from birth in a cave. They face a wall and cannot move their hands. Behind them is a sort of walkway. Behind the walkway is a brightly burning fire. As 3 people travel across the walkway, the shadows of the objects they carry are thrown against the wall. Since they have never seen anything else, these shadows appear to the prisoners to be real things. Eventually, one of the captives breaks free and runs away. At first, he cannot believe in the real world after his lifetime of shadows. Once he sees things as they are and realizes that the sun is the world's life giver, he returns to the cave to free his fellows, but they do not want to be freed. Much like Plato's captives, the prisoners understand part of the mysteries confronting them. They can see shapes of ideas. How can they get out? Why are they here? Why does this nutty scientist care about their brains in particular? They see the answers to such questions like half-formed shadows playing against a wall. But as the show develops, we realize that the captives can only find the truth by turning inward. This group must plunge in. Enlightenment is found in the authentic group relationship as they pursue perfect spiritual connection with one another. Placed beside similar shows that encourage their viewers to think about what it really means to be an individual in society, like Westworld and Stranger Things, we can see the OA as part of a new genre of TV sci-fi that evangelizes against our own atomized world. These shows promote direct, authentic relationships among human beings. The OA echoes the way other filmmakers have employed the fantastical elements of faith to tell a somehow larger story about loss and the value of life. In Angsley Life of Pi, for example, big budget effects and an inherently gripping storyline also unveil the purpose of belief in oneself and others. In Peter Jackson's The Lovely Bones, which has a shocking similar tone through a desperately darker storyline than the OA, the afterlife is likewise portrayed in glowing imagery and iconography. Like those films, the OA is not a religious story but a spiritual one. Analysis of the OA's finale will leave most viewers annoyed by the ambiguity the show leaves us with. Is a gap we and many of its characters are expected to bridge by faith. If that sounds too much like work, then the OA isn't for you. But the intrigue of Prayers' story shines bright past its sentimental surface and seems set to put doubt in even the most stone-hearted skeptic.